It's funny that you mentioned the tandem read because I have, as of about 2 minutes ago, finished the tandem read. I am finished with Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, and I have thoughts about it. This is two books, so there is a lot to cover. I'm definitely not going to cover all of my thoughts in this one video, but the moral of the story is I'm not bored anymore. I'm starting here with Empire of Storms because this is where the series continues, and this was, for about 2/3 of the book, extremely boring. The book is definitely not boring anymore. Like, I definitely get why Empire of Storms is structured the way that it is, but I have problems with some of the things that happened in this book. My criticism of Aelin being a god holds more so than ever in this book because she's literally Jesus. She's just Jesus. There's this moment towards the end of the book where Aelin and Manon, they get sucked into a mirror, very Feyre with her own mirror in her own book, which, oh, we're gonna get there. And then they have a very hologram with Bryce underground moment in House of Flame and Shadow, where Aelin finds out that Nameless is the price of the savior of the world or something like that. And it just comes down to Aelin has to die to save the world. So, that just makes her Jesus. Like, she's literally blonde Jesus getting dicked down by Bird Ken. She's literally being crucified. Well, she's not really being crucified, but she's in an iron box. She has surrendered. She was put in an iron box to save Elid's life because Lorcan called Maeve over to save Elid. So Lorcan betrayed everybody and Elid hates him now. And I'm just like, dude, if you had just thought ahead, just a single second, you would have known not to do this. But then even then, there is a secret marriage. Another secret marriage. Cool. Also, Aelin and Rowan are mates. And Aelin knew for months. And as much as I want to be like, well, fucking course they're mates, and I want to clown on that, I'm honestly really pleased by the development that Aelin figured it out first, and she did not pressure Rowan in any way because she knew that he would have a lot of guilt about his presumed mate, which is fake. And now I understand the whole shit with people comparing Rowan's fake mating bond to a possible fake Aleutian bond, but I don't think that that's the case. I think the Aleutian bond is real, but that's another conversation for another day. I do not have time to get into the theory shit that this book has opened for me. We also continue with Aelin not informing anyone of their plans. Edion, my baby, my boy, is constantly just of 2 steps behind every plan that Aelin makes, and it's entirely Aelin's doing. It's her fault. Aelin will be like, oh my god, everything is going bad. Where are our allies? What the fuck is this? And it turns out, nope, Aelin took care of everything. Everything is great. Lovely. And then there is this fuck-ass moment where we find out after Aelin got taken by Maeve and all of that there was a plan for Lysandra to impersonate Aelin and pretend to be the queen so that they could still fight her and all of that and all of these things because Aelin knew that Lorcan was going to betray everybody because of course she does, because Aelin knows everything, because Aelin is a god. She's literally Jesus. And then when Edion's what would have happened if you guys needed to produce heirs? Lysandra looks nothing like Aelin. This would not go well. And Lysandra's oh no, you would have fixed that. You would have had our babies. And then Edion has the same answer that I did, where he's just what kind of fuckery were you going to pull where I would be willing to fuck my cousin? That's not happening. And I really feel for Edion, man, because that man is just continually suffering. He has a dad he doesn't know about who wants a relationship and he doesn't want a relationship. He falls in love with the shapeshifter who is constantly lying to him. He doesn't get to take the blood oath that Rowan ends up taking. And meanwhile, Rowan didn't even need to take it because they were fucking mates to begin with. So now Rowan and I believe Lorcan and I want to say not Dorian, but I think Rowan and Lorcan definitely are going off to find Aelin because the book ends with essentially Rowan being I am setting off to find my wife now. Because they're married now. They're married and that, and we didn't know about it. They were only married for 2 days and they got 15 minutes to consummate their marriage, which, all right, fine, whatever. And I as much as I'm not bored by Empire of Storms anymore, and I actually am invested, like I want to know what happens, so I am going to buy Kingdom of Ash. I'm going to start reading it when my friend is done with these books. I just keep returning to, even though like Aelin has been defeated now, and I think like her Chuck Norrising of herself, like throughout the narrative, is in service of the moment where Maeve does defeat her. Like she needs to be like the biggest, baddest bitch in order to show how scary Maeve is. And I understood the intention of that, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, she's Jesus. She's just Jesus. But none of that makes me as angry as Tower of Dawn turning to ashes in my mouth. This doesn't mean that I don't love Tower of Dawn, because I love Tower of Dawn. Tower of Dawn, I want to say, is in my top 3 favorite SJM books of her entire, I almost said discography. I meant like her entire like catalog of books. Tower of Dawn is in my top 3. This is a good book. Kaelian and Yrene, wonderful. Excellent shit. No problem with that. We love a sandy-haired man who is pathetic for a curly girl. We love that shit. But I ran into a problem with Tower of Dawn where I was feeling like I had seen this film before. A character who is much maligned by the fandom gets a book of his own and ends up on a long involved healing journey involving a training arc and a love interest who has something to learn from him as well. What book am I talking about? Flip the genders. What book am I talking about? And this feels particularly egregious because as someone who read ACOTAR first, Throne of Glass really suffers from an ACOTAR first order of reading SJM books because of the way that all of the other books copy Throne of Glass. As an example, Nesryn and Sartok. We love Nesryn and Sartok. The couples of Tower of Dawn, I like them very much. There's a moment where Nesryn is freaking out because Sartok is injured. They're dealing with these spiders and they have to deal with some stuff. And then like things are happening. And Sartok is just like, I loved you before I ever set eyes on you. And I'm like, yes, excellent. And then the next line, I'm just so angry about it. He says, I wish we had time. And I was immediately taken back to the end of ACOWAR with Cassian and Nesta. And I realized that Tower of Dawn is one of the Akamath copies. An Akamath copy isn't even that fair, because really it's an Heir of Fire copy. It's a training arc story. It's like it's the same thing. And Nessian is kind of echoed in a lot of these Throne of Glass couples. Minorian is a really good example of that. To return to Empire of Storms for a minute, I don't necessarily love that Dorian and Manon are already sleeping together, because I figured that would be like a slower burn, and my expectation is a little bit different, and it does feel like Dorian is latching onto Manon not because he likes her, but because she is not human and therefore not killable like his ex-girlfriend. But Dorian and Manon are just another iteration of what would eventually become Nessian. Like, this kind of feels like the series that codifies all of Sarah's tropes, whether they're good tropes or not. Now, to Throne of Glass's credit, the men of Throne of Glass are worth something. Even Rowan, who my problem with him is that he's boring and like he's just Ken. He's a Ken doll. He's Bird Ken. But he's still like a decent dude. He's still about his woman. Like I do not question his love for Aelin, especially now with everything going on with like the mating bond and the fact that like he's totally cool with it and all of that. Like we love Rowan, kind of like Rowan's cool. But then Edion is great, and Kale is great, and Dorian is great, and Sartok is great. Like the love interest men are excellent. And then you go to ACOTAR, and then you see Nessian in all of these couples, and then everybody's just worse. Like Rhysand is just worse, and Cassian is way worse. I would have so much more smoke for Nessian if I had realized that not only is this an unhealthy relationship where I'm being gaslit into thinking that Cassian is a good dude, not only is that happening, they're also a copy upon a copy upon a copy of couples from Throne of Glass. It's insane to me. Now, am I finishing out this series? Hell yes, I am. I am invested now. It sucks that it took 5-6 books to get fully invested in this series again, but Jesus Christ, the end of those books, they hit hard. But they hit hard with a lot of like sound and fury, and all we get is a copy upon a copy upon a copy. So I'm having fun, but I'm also pissed off, you know?